What keeps a man alive in the darkest places on earth? What gives someone the strength to endure suffering most of us can't even imagine? In Man's Search for Meaning, Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist Viktor Frankl takes us inside the Nazi concentration camps and reveals a profound truth. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Viktor E. Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist from Austria. In 1942, he was deported to a concentration camp with his family. He lost everything: his parents, his wife, his freedom, but not his will to live, and not his belief that even in horror, life can hold meaning. After surviving the camps, Frankl developed Logotherapy, a therapy centered on finding purpose. His message: suffering is inevitable, but how we respond to it, that's where meaning is born. Frankl's most profound insight is strikingly simple. If you have a why, you can survive almost anyhow. Inside the concentration camps, the suffering was unimaginable. People were stripped of everything: clothes, food, identity, dignity. But Frankl noticed something extraordinary. Some survived, not because they were stronger physically, but because they had something to live for, a reason, a purpose. One man clung to the hope of reuniting with his daughter. Another dreamed of finishing an important scientific paper. Frankl himself held on to the idea of seeing his wife again, even though he didn't know if she was alive. These hopes weren't guarantees, but they were anchors. They gave life a thread of meaning to hold on to. He realized the body can be imprisoned, tortured, even broken, but the spirit can remain free. Meaning isn't handed to you. It's not built into the world around you. You create it. You choose it. And that choice gives power, even in powerlessness. The moment we assign meaning to our suffering, when we connect it to something greater, it transforms. Suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds meaning. Frankl believed that the last human freedom, the one thing that can't be taken from us, is the ability to choose our attitude in any given set of circumstances. Even in the horror of the camps, he saw this in action. Men who had been stripped of family, possessions, and health. Some still chose to be kind. They comforted the weak. They shared their last scraps of bread. They found ways to express dignity, even in the dust of despair. Frankl realized that between what happens to us and how we respond, there is always a gap, and in that space lies our power. The Nazis controlled everything external, but they could never control the internal decision to remain human, to remain hopeful, to remain connected to something deeper. You don't always get to choose your suffering, but you always get to choose your stance toward it. And in that choice lies a kind of victory. Not the kind history writes about, but the kind that shapes who you are when no one is watching. When everything is taken from you, even the smallest moments can become sacred. Frankl writes about seeing a beam of sunlight cut through a crack in the barracks, how it reminded him that beauty still existed, or how a fellow prisoner would risk his life to share a crust of bread with someone weaker. These weren't grand gestures, but they carried immense weight, because in those acts, there was meaning, there was choice, there was love. Frankl believed that life's meaning isn't just found in achievement or success. It can be found in suffering, in patience, in endurance. It can be found in a glance, a memory, a whispered prayer. Meaning isn't comfort. It's not pleasure. It's not distraction. It's purpose. It's the reason you get up when you want to give up. The reason you hold on even when everything around you is falling apart. And purpose, Frankl says, is the one thing that can survive anything. Frankl offers a radical shift in how we think about happiness. Happiness cannot be pursued. Not directly. Not like a goal to check off a list. Because the more you chase happiness, the more it slips through your fingers. It's like trying to grab a shadow. The harder you try, the more elusive it becomes. But when you stop obsessing over feeling good, and instead aim to do good, something changes. Frankl says that happiness ensues, it follows. It's the byproduct of living with meaning, of giving yourself to a cause bigger than your own comfort. A person, a mission, a responsibility. That's when joy appears, quietly, naturally, not as the goal, but as the result. He wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." Purpose is the force that carries you through real suffering. It doesn't shield you from pain, but it gives that pain direction. And when pain has direction, you no longer feel lost. You feel alive. In the modern world, we often define freedom as doing whatever we want. But Frankl challenges that idea. True freedom isn't about escaping limits. It's about choosing your values, choosing your path, choosing what is right, even when it's hard. He believed that freedom without responsibility is empty, because freedom alone doesn't lead to fulfillment. It's responsibility that gives freedom weight. It's what keeps it from becoming selfish or meaningless. Frankl once said that just as the Statue of Liberty stands on the East Coast, there should be a statue of responsibility on the West Coast. Because liberty is not enough. Life doesn't ask, "What do you want from me?" It asks, "What do I expect from you?" It's not about what you take from life. It's about what you give. And in your answer, that's where meaning lives. Here's the part most people miss. Frankl didn't see suffering as the enemy. In fact, he believed suffering could be a gift, if we choose to transform it. He writes, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Sometimes life corners us. It takes away control, choice, and comfort. But it never takes away the opportunity to grow. Pain has the power to shatter illusions, to strip away the surface and expose what matters most. And in that raw space, in the silence after the breakdown, we can find clarity. We can awaken purpose." Frankl didn't teach people to run from pain. He taught them to face it, feel it, and find meaning through it. Not every wound becomes wisdom, but every wound can, if we let it. Avoiding suffering isn't the goal. Becoming more through it is. Reading Man's Search for Meaning didn't just give me insight. It gave me a mirror. A mirror to see how I handle struggle. A mirror to ask myself better questions. When life gets hard, when I feel anxious, lost, or completely overwhelmed, I don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" That question keeps me stuck. It makes me a victim. Instead, I ask, "What is this moment asking of me? What strength must I grow now? What lesson is hidden in this pain?" Frankl's words echo in my mind during those moments. It's not about the meaning of life in general, but the specific meaning of a person's life at a given moment. That simple idea changed me. Because meaning isn't some grand, lifelong purpose written in stone. It can be fluid, immediate, deeply personal. Some days, meaning is showing up for someone who needs you. Other days, it's simply holding yourself together in silence. But once you believe that your life still has meaning, no matter the loss, the fear, the chaos, you become resilient in ways most people never imagine. This book didn't give me easy answers. It gave me the courage to face hard questions. And in my darkest moments, when there's no clarity, no motivation, and no roadmap, Frankl's wisdom reminds me, you can still choose your response. And in that choice, there's always power. There's always light. Let's pause and take in the powerful lessons from Man's Search for Meaning. You always have a choice, no matter the pain. You can choose dignity. You can choose how you respond. Life holds meaning under any condition, even when it's ugly, unfair, or heartbreaking. Don't chase happiness like it's a destination. Instead, create purpose and let happiness follow. Real freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about taking responsibility for who you are and how you live, and above all, even in the darkest, most brutal moments of your life, meaning is possible. And once you find that meaning, you become unstoppable. If this summary resonated with you, I urge you, read the full book. It's not long, but it's deep, and it might just shift the way you see your struggles, your choices, your life. And if you want more summaries like this, ones that don't just explain books, but help you grow through them, subscribe. Because here, we don't just talk about books. We build a toolkit for resilience, for purpose, for finding strength when everything else falls apart. When life gets hard, meaning is your greatest strength. And this book might be the first step toward finding it.